snake? I have, and here's my story. So, there's this channel on YouTube called Snake Discovery, and I watched a couple of videos. I told my mom about it, and a week later I asked her if I could get a snake, and that went on for like a month. And then we started to go to this reptile place called Alan's Pet Center, and we got to hold some ball pythons. And we went back a couple of times, and on the third visit, I was begging my dad to let me buy one of them, and he just said, okay. And that made me really, really happy. So I picked a little python that I really liked and named him Boba. If you're considering snake ownership, there are a couple of things you need to consider first. Do I have the time? Snakes need to eat once a week. Snakes eat mice and rats depending on the size of their snake. Snakes live 20 to 50 years depending on the snake you have. So it's a big time commitment. You should also handle your snake every day so it doesn't get shy or aggressive. The only days to not handle your snake are the 2 days after it eats. You have to clean out the cage every 3 months, but spot clean daily. Do I have the space? Snakes can get pretty big. If you get a boa, they can get up to 7 feet long. So you can also buy a smaller snake like a corn snake, which stays fairly small. A ball python is somewhere in between and can get 3 to 4 feet long. My ball python is in a 15-gallon tank. He's only 1.5 feet long now, but he will get bigger. Do I have the money? Snakes can go from $20 to over $400, depending on the snake. Corn snakes and milk snakes go from $20 to $30. Ball pythons go from $50 to $400, depending on their pattern and color, also known as their morph. Some morphs are more rare than others, and some morphs are more rare and cost more. And every week, you need to buy fresh food. Do I have the willingness to feed it live or frozen mice or rats? Most snakes will eat frozen mice, but some will only eat live. If you aren't willing to feed it, either don't get one or find someone that will feed it for you. The place we are going to have feed our snake is Alan's Pet Center. Do I have all of my questions answered? We did our research on YouTube and hired a snake professional to come over to our house and answer all of our questions. Some of the questions we asked were, will it bite? It won't bite hard. Can I have a snake plus birds and a guinea pig? Yes, it is safe. But you should wash your hands before handling any of your animals if you've just handled a snake. Will it escape? Not if it's in the right container. Ours has a pin on the top that keeps the lid securely on. How often does it eat? Once every 1 to 2 weeks. And that's how we decided that we were going to get a snake. What are the best snakes for beginners? Corn snakes, milk snakes, and ball pythons. Ball pythons tend to move slowly because they are nocturnal, but you can still hold them during the day. Corn and milk snakes are still great beginner snakes, but they tend to be a little more wiggly. None of these snakes are aggressive or venomous, and they are all pretty easy to take care of. This is not a good snake for beginners, a boa constrictor. I held a 7-foot-long boa constrictor. It was awesome, but they still aren't the best for beginners. Now that you have your snake, here's how to set up the habitat. Get your tank. I got a 15-gallon tank for my baby ball python. Put your heat mat in and a green pad down over it so your snake doesn't get burnt. Put your bedding in. Aspen is the best bedding for snakes because if you use the same thing you use for guinea pigs, it can poison your snake. After you put the bedding in, put all of your decorations in. One hide in the hot side and one on the cool side and your water dish. Make sure your water dish is on the cold side. Then add a few other things as you wish. I added a piece of wood and a little leafy thing for my snake to climb on, but make sure they still have enough room to move around the tank. Last but certainly not least, add your snake. Meet my snake Boba. I'll bring him around now, but I'm not going to have you touch him, but maybe after if there's time. His Morph is a pastel pinstriped ball python. He is 3 months old. They're called ball pythons because they like to curl up into a ball. We don't know if it's a girl or a boy. Girls tend to grow a little bit bigger than boys.